So a lot of us on the left, well, pretty much everybody on the left, really wants to get Donald Trump out. But not only Donald Trump, but a lot of the GOP and the establishment Democrats who have been occupying the Washington, D.C. space for far too long. But the unfortunate truth is, after you watch this clip from Hillary Clinton operatives, you're going to realize the same as I did that the future is looking quite bleak. It really is. Let's talk about it. So as many of you already know, I went to Politicon. It was a great time. Got to meet with a lot of supporters. You all are absolutely amazing. I honestly wasn't expecting to have that many supporters there, but there were way more than I was expecting. And so I'm glad the message is getting out. I love, I loved meeting all of my social media political colleagues in person for the first time. Sagar, shout out to Sagar. Obviously hung out with Kyle. You all saw. Hung out with Corin too, and him and Corin were together. Like I said, we got to hang out with a lot of different people. It was really awesome. Went to a lot of different panels too, and guess what? Not every panel or discussion was as productive as the Hear the Burn podcast with Bree Joy Gray, where Kyle also was on there as well. But you learn something from every single panel. In this particular panel, which included James Carville, who was the Democratic Party's messaging legend, if you will, the people who hired him as their messaging consultants, or as their messaging consultant, have won, and everybody else have lost. In other words, there's only been two Democrats elected in the last 30 years or so. Bill Clinton and Obama. Those are the only ones who won. So that's why Carville's a legend, although he's way out of date. Then you have Jess McIntosh, former communications director for the Hillary Clinton campaign. I think she was communications director also for Share Blue, David Brock's little troll embassy. And that's a whole different discussion. And then you have Zerlina Maxwell, of course. Zerlina Maxwell is a CNN contributor. However, she is most known for being wrong quite often on Twitter. Once again, proving that if you have a blue check mark, you're probably most likely going to be wrong in your analysis. Because the whole point of the way a lot of them got their following is by building up a solid base in their echo chamber. And so they have to cater to that echo chamber. And of course, being that Zerlina is part of the establishment, I think it's no surprise that she is wrong most of the time. And then of course you have Kyle, who was the only reasonable voice on the panel. Even the moderator just kind of makes you sick to your stomach. So that's the setup we have right now. So as you could tell, this is basically Kyle versus 3 objectively bad Democrats. I don't know how they're objectively not just bad. I'm not saying they're bad as people. They might be good people. Who knows? Probably, maybe. I don't know. But when I say bad Democrats, I'm like, they don't understand what it takes to win. They don't see the direction that their party is heading in. They don't see the direction that the left is heading in. And being that Kyle co-founded an organization that, as much as I've had my personal critiques with some of the things that have went down that are separate from Kyle, and even really separate from Jank, even though I'm not really fond of him, they've done some great work, and Kyle was there at the inception of the organization. You can't argue that they didn't get things done. You can't argue that. So Kyle knows a little bit about what he's talking about. I'm not calling him the end all be all, but I got a little faith, especially when it comes to outside of the presidential election. God, he is biased towards Bernie. I always joke on him about that. He is biased towards Bernie. However, outside of that, his analysis when it comes to what the country wants and needs as far as the populist measure is concerned, it's pretty damn spot on. So this clip is disturbing because when we finally, the Democrats just won back the House. The Democrats just won it back. And you would think that means, well, man, the ones who are the most impactful, who have the largest voice, the ones who have everyone hanging on their words, are all women of color, and they're all just as Democrats, and they came from this guy's organization. So maybe we should try and at least emulate that message moving forward so we can win more. Emulate the populist message. Nope, that's not what's going to happen, though, and I'm going to tell you how I know. Let's watch this clip and find out.
Also, there were a lot of people who stayed home, so he's definitely unbeatable.
So far you guys have said a number of things. These are the wrong lessons to take from 2016. When you do, or maybe you did, the self-analysis, what did the presidential campaign, what did the Clinton campaign do wrong that is legitimate?
I think I'd point to Jen Palmieri's book that she wrote, Dear Madam President, where she admits that the campaign was caught really flat-footed on exactly how big an issue gender was going to be.
This moderator, y'all, he did not ask any good questions outside of this one. All he asked for was a little accountability. Not a lot, not a whole lot, just a little accountability. That's all he asked for. And guess what you got instead? Everybody is sexist. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, people. You know, if you've been in this channel, you know better than anybody. I firmly believe in sexism. I talk about it all the time. Talk about the patriarchy regularly here. However, no. Nah, you can't use that here. Maybe if you didn't get through the primary, maybe then I would have believed it. Nah, actually, no. I wouldn't have believed it then either. Not for Hillary. You had a 99% chance of winning. All you had to do was not be as bad as Donald Trump. Be better than Donald Trump. That's all you had to do. And you had told so many lies at that point, she couldn't remember what lies she had told. So she could not flank him policy-wise. You just had to just be better than Donald Trump. At that time, this isn't post 2016. Every day Trump's going on the victory lap Donald Trump. This is because that was an easier Donald Trump to beat. This Donald Trump is going to be a little bit more difficult, though, to be real with you. But all you had to do is be better than Donald Trump. And so I want to know, why do you think it was gender just? Let's hear what she has to say about that.
The first woman president seemed like it was Hillary Clinton. She was the most qualified candidate ever. She was like the pillar of the establishment. Like, it couldn't be safer than Hillary Clinton. But the fact is, we'd never elected a woman president, which means.
Okay. I want y'all to understand something. She just gave us a glimpse into her psyche. And if you were not truly disturbed by what you just heard, then you should be. Reevaluate your political lens, because she said that Hillary Clinton was the most qualified candidate in history, which we heard that lie repeated over and over and over again, right? She isn't. She isn't. The only elected office that Hillary Clinton has ever held was the Senate in New York, where all of her little friends come out to play. And she barely won both times. And of course, there's a lot of speculation surrounding that. However, when she did finally get to the Senate, guess what Hillary Clinton did when she got there? Can you think of anything she had done? Nothing. She was one of the bottom two most unproductive senators. With the last name Clinton, by the way, which means she had a little bit more clout than most. But she was never there to get stuff done. She was there to climb the ladder. She was there to keep her and her husband in the public eye, to use their clout to enrich themselves. She was one of the most unproductive there. So before that, she was just an attorney, and she was just the first lady who made a horrible misstep with the most prominent bill she pushed was the 94 crime bill, which was a horrible misstep. And then she pushed NAFTA too. Horrible misstep. So then she loses, she gets out of the Senate, runs for office, loses. Then she gets handpicked by Obama, but more than likely it was Citigroup. When she finally gets there, I mean, we can go through everything that Hillary did, but I think that we can just, because it isn't just about experience. Okay, I think we all agree. It's not just about experience. But when she finally gets there, she did gain some experience while she was Secretary of State. However, that experience includes overthrowing a leader after he was about to step down anyway, as the African Union, I'm talking about Gaddafi, the African Union had a meeting. Gaddafi agreed he would step down. By the way, he was the elected chairman of the African Union because they believed in him. He announced he's going to step down. We sent people in after him. We came, we saw, he died, remember? And now there's slavery in Libya. I could talk about working at McDonald's for 20 years and say I'm the most qualified one to be the CEO or the manager of this McDonald's. If I almost blow the place up once a year because of my incompetence, just because I've been in McDonald's for 20 years doesn't mean I'm the one who should be managing the job. Doesn't mean I should be managing the store just because I have time in. Is there such thing as the right experience? So she wasn't even the most qualified candidate. So that's a lie. Bernie really was. Bernie was one of the most productive senators, one of the most productive legislators in both the House and the Senate. Bernie had executive experience in Burlington, executive experience that Hillary Clinton had never had. And you cheated that guy. And then called everybody else who called this out Bernie bros and sexist, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it just lets you know how twisted their mindset is. That they believe that if you are a pillar of the establishment, then you are the safest vote in a time with so much angst in this society that people are tearing each other apart if they get a whiff, if they even think that you're part of the establishment. If they even think that you're echoing the sentiments of the establishment, they will rip you apart on social media, in person, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you think that being a part of the establishment is a good thing. That just lets you know how twisted these people's thought processes are.
There's absolutely nothing safe about electing a woman president. I think we didn't realize exactly how that was going to play out in the absolutely unconscionable media handling of the email story as 20 times more than any other policy question that came up in all of 2016.
Really? An ongoing investigation into a presidential candidate came up 20 times more than Bernie's non-investigation that never happened? Can you believe that? Oh my God. Oh my God. And also, yeah, the investigation came up, but then what was Trump dealing with on the other side? Let's be honest. Trump got $1 billion in free coverage, and most of it, if we're being real, was kind of fucked up. Yeah, a lot of it was self-inflicted. But Hillary Clinton's coverage compared to Trump's was very, very favorable. If we're talking about the mainstream, which is what she's referring to. Yeah, the Hillary Clinton email scandal got brought up a lot. But here's the thing. That's because she was guilty of the shit. And this involved security clearances. And she's about to be the president, which gets the highest level of security clearance. I think it's a pretty huge deal. And a lot of people cared about it. And that's why they talked about it all the time. And also the part that Justice likes to leave out is if we go through the OIG report, which you know I did, the OIG report that ultimately led to the firing of Andrew McCabe, we found out that James Comey and Loretta Lynch had a little conversation. And that conversation consisted of, not James Comey, James Comey and Barack Obama. And that conversation consisted of not telling the world, because this was even worse than the Hillary Clinton email scandal. There was another investigation running adjacent to that email investigation, and that was an investigation into the Clinton Foundation that was being conducted by the FBI that James Comey and Loretta Lynch tried to slow down, and then once Jeff Sessions got in, he and Rod Rosenstein tried to slow that investigation down, according to FBI agents familiar with the case. But they were told not to tell the world about the Clinton Foundation investigation because, of course, that would then implicate Barack Obama, because you told her to get rid of the Clinton Foundation, and yet she didn't. In fact, She used it to enrich herself. We know that a lot of the money laundering that went through with the Ukraine situation went through the Clinton Foundation, and that's how Hunter Biden, the VP of that administration, the VP's son, can't talk today, ended up on that board, the energy board in the Ukraine, and was making $50,000 a month. So that's why. But she left that part out. Hillary got a lot of favoritism showed towards her. And the last point I want to make about that particular issue is the fact that, yeah, if you're a president with an ongoing investigation or a presidential candidate with an ongoing investigation, I think that that's of public interest. And that was, once again, a very legitimate investigation where people will be held accountable. The investigation just concluded. And there will be people that will be held accountable. Not as many as I would have liked to see, but there will be some people held accountable. The names haven't been released yet, though. So it was something. It was a big deal. And at the bare minimum, showed once again incompetence for the most qualified candidate ever. But now, what are we seeing right now? The impeachment inquiry, an investigation for a presidential candidate and current president that is being talked about nonstop on both networks. You know, the CNNs, MSNBCs, and the Fox Newses over and over and over and over and over and over again. Are they talking about this impeachment inquiry more than policies because they're sexist against Trump? Is it because of his gender? Oh my God, I didn't know. Let me find out Trump out here Caitlyn Jennering. No, I doubt it. I don't think that's the case. I think that the spicy stories make the news, and when you're running for the highest office in the land, any spicy story is going to be on repeat, just like the Stormy Daniels story was on repeat, just like the Russiagate nonsense was on repeat for years. You think that probably has, because she's running for president and it was an open investigation? You think that might have had something to do with it? I'm just saying. There's no logic to these people. They don't see reality. It's legitimately scary. Let's continue.
We didn't realize how much that was going to take a toll, and I think that's not happening now. I am really happy to, I'm not saying that misogyny is gone or that it's going to be super easy to elect a woman, although I think it's super possible. The last one got the 3 million more votes. But right now, I get to have conversations with reporters almost every week where it's, tell me about the gender implications for electability. When we talk about electable, do you think that's coming from a place that is not fair to women candidates, that doesn't understand women's leadership? We're doing this self-reflective moment in the media and as operatives where we're asking those questions. And if you'll notice, the women candidates aren't getting called likable anymore. That stopped. We're almost done with
That's actually not true. First of all, they'll talk about how Bernie isn't likable. That's okay to apply to Bernie, but not okay to say whether or not a candidate isn't or is not likable. Let me be clear about something. The whole likable thing has actually worked out in favor for Elizabeth Warren, for example. That shit, the patriarchy and how it has propped up white women who fit in a certain box. Who fit this, have a certain air of normalcy, like the grandmother. There's people who say all the time, I know Elizabeth Warren, she definitely used the plight of Native Americans for personal gain, financial gain as well. Was never a Native American, and then but when she thought she was Native American, she threw Native Americans under the bus. But I just really like her though. I just really like her. I don't agree with her policies. I really like her. What? Why? For what? Because white feminism puts a cloak over bullshit. It's been the norm. Hillary Clinton, if she was a man, oh my God, if Hillary Clinton was a black man, oh Lord, she would never even got the opportunity. Why do you think it took them getting a Barack Obama who had only had 3 years as a junior senator with a little record built up so that it couldn't be used against him? That's the only way that we could have gotten a black man at that time into office. But if he had Hillary Clinton's record, best believe Obama would have been throttled. Obama would have been done. He would have never made it. So they took advantage of the opportunity that was put in front of them. So that was what it was, for real. Likeable, whatever.
Electable. Next, we'll move on to authentic. And eventually, we'll just...
Also, she said, we're not talking about electable anymore. But they were the ones who were saying Bernie wasn't electable and that Hillary was the most electable. That was how the electability conversation started. They're the only ones who pushed electability. It wasn't the left. It was not progressives. It was them.
See women as people, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
But it is getting better.
But I mean, she also just didn't campaign in the Rust Belt, and she wasn't like hammering home. Like one of the main reasons why Trump won.
And just to be clear up front, he's a liar. He's as big of a liar as you could possibly get. But the dude
Didn't campaign in the Rust Belt. You didn't campaign in the Rust Belt, and you lost almost every state in the Rust Belt. I wonder if there's any correlation there. Just out of curiosity, I wonder if people who vote like the people who come and ask for their vote. I don't know for a fact because everybody's different. But if you say you want my vote and you come to get my vote, I'd probably be more likely to vote for you. But also, maybe you shouldn't have said you didn't need nor want Bernie Sanders' support. Or not his support, but his voters. You said we don't need him. Remember that? Y'all was talking about that. Maybe you shouldn't have said that. Just out of curiosity. If you want my vote, then come get my damn vote. Trump went, and he got the vote.
dude went to the Rust Belt and he kept doing these rallies where he was talking about like, you know, I'm going to bring the jobs back. It's going to be so tremendous. We're going to have so many jobs. It's going to be unbelievable. And, you know, that's a message that sells in the Rust Belt.
You think
Really,
the
that's what she
geographic
lost.
location of his rallies was more important than misogyny in his win?
I think
Yes.
that if she, no, I think that if she,
You hear that, right? Everybody in the crowd is like, do you think the strategic geographic location of a rally, of a campaign rally for a presidential campaign being conducted in strategic locations in the Rust Belt, in the major states we need to win the election, where you attract attention and try and contrast yourself from the other candidate that they might be voting for? You think that trying to rally people together and galvanize them to vote for you in a place that is literally begging for their votes to be taken, you think that not doing that was more impactful than sexism? Yes. Yes, absolutely. 100%.
she did rallies in the Rust Belt and argued against the outsourcing, then yes, I think she could have won because she only lost by 60,000 votes in the Rust Belt.
Do you know how many votes she lost by? I'm very confused.
So Kyle put the hammer down on him. And I want to be very clear before we go on to the next clip. It's the last clip. Kyle put the hammer down on him. And
backdoor conspiracy. But second of all, I agree with what you said about electing more women and women of color, and it just so happens to be the case that every Justice Democrat who got elected in the last election was a woman of color.
So, what I don't understand is, why is it that our victories, the left's victories, they just don't count for a variety of
It's
reasons?
weird that it's really how you just cited that, but yet you ignored the issue of gender impacting electoral outcomes. I mean, you can't say. Look at all these women of color who won, they won despite the gender dynamic that you just dismissed.
No, I didn't dismiss it.
Yes, you did.
No. Here, let me make it crystal clear. Does gender matter? Does gender matter? The answer is yes. Could that still have been overcome if Hillary campaigned for the Rust Belt with the right
Hold on, I need to be the moderator.
Is sexism real? Yes. But could Hillary Clinton have overcome that if she would have campaigned in the Rust Belt? Absolutely. 100% agree. I mean, also, the whole not cheating Bernie thing would have helped too. But in all seriousness, that would have helped tremendously, I think. And now Kyle's a sexist because he just acknowledged simple strategy. Just simple strategy. Not even a complicated one, just a simple one. Maybe you should campaign for the votes you want. That's all. What I find most hilarious about this entire thing before I go is that you remember when Justin McIntosh said, well, maybe we can get over electability and likability and then we can actually be seen as women can be seen as people. Do you know what happened almost just a few minutes after this interaction? They tried to push Amy Klobuchar on us, and the entire crowd booed, namely us, me and the people I was with. Adrian, Rebecca was there, Adrian's father was there, a few people were there. Shout out to them. And Becca was booing the loudest. Tell me why. She looked over at us and said, don't you dare boo a female candidate. Hold on, what? Double the fuck back. What? I thought you said you wanted to look at you as people. Nobody cares about Klobuchar's sex. And everybody's like, especially in our row, they're like, I voted for Jill Stein. What are you talking about? And then, and then everybody in my row, except for like two people, they're voting for Bernie. They're like, and we're voting for Tulsi. So what are you talking about? It's nothing to do with sexism. Everything to do with Klobuchar's a bad candidate. Okay? I'm tired of having Democrats tell me what's not possible with all that damn money they got in this budget that we pay into. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to know what your thoughts are about this. Like and comment below. And always remember, more than anything else, people, find your balance. Peace. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Also, you can help us upgrade the studio and take this show on the road to cover the on-the-ground politics that you love by clicking on that GoFundMe link in the description and donating literally anything. Anything helps. Also, you can follow us on Rockfin, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. And hey, more than anything else, people, always remember, find your balance. Peace.